386 out of 1,000. That is the score OYO received in the economy hotel category in the 2025 J.D. Power Hotel Guest Satisfaction data reported by Money Talks News. The economy hotel average was 544. That means OYO was 158 points below the average for its own segment. That number matters because cheap hotels are not automatically bad hotels. A low nightly rate can be a smart travel decision, but when a brand is far below its own category average, the question changes. It is no longer, is this room cheap? It becomes, what exactly am I giving up to save the money? Today we are going through 6 hotel brands travelers should think twice about before booking. This is not based on one angry review, one viral bedbug post, or one bad photo from a guest. The backbone is J.D. Power's 2025 North America Hotel Guest Satisfaction Research as summarized in published score data, supported by legal or enforcement records only where those records directly add context. No hotel brand paid us. This is purely our research. Welcome to the Hidden Boarding Pass. One more rule before the list. These brands are not being compared to luxury hotels. An economy hotel should be judged against other economy hotels. An economy extended stay brand should be judged against other economy extended stay brands. That is why the segment averages matter. The question is not whether a $70 room feels like a $300 room. The question is whether a budget brand performs acceptably inside the budget category it chose to compete in. Avoid number 6 is Travelodge by Wyndham. Travelodge is a familiar economy name, and that familiarity is part of the risk. A brand can feel safer because travelers have seen the sign for decades, but familiarity is not the same thing as guest satisfaction. In the 2025 J.D. Power Economy Hotel Scores reported by Money Talks News, Travelodge scored 522 out of 1,000. The economy segment average was 544. That puts Travelodge 22 points below the average for its category. This is not a legal case. It is not a claim that every Travelodge property is bad. It is a satisfaction signal. For the traveler booking a one-night roadside stop, 22 points below average may not sound dramatic. But for seniors, road trippers, or families arriving late at night, the lowest price is only part of the value. A budget hotel still has to deliver sleep, cleanliness, working locks, a usable bathroom, a quiet enough room, and a front desk that can solve problems. When a brand sits below the economy average, the discount has to be big enough to justify the risk. Travelodge is the entry that shows why this episode is not only about scandal. Sometimes the warning is quieter. A brand can be below average without a headline attached to it. That still matters when the booking is made at 9 p.m., the traveler is tired, and the cancellation window has already passed. At that moment, the difference between cheap and poor value becomes very real. Avoid number 5 is Motel 6. Motel 6 scored 519 out of 1,000 in the same economy segment data, below the 544 economy average. That alone would put it on the warning list. But Motel 6 also has one of the most serious privacy records in this episode. In 2019, Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson announced that Motel 6 would pay $12 million to resolve a lawsuit alleging the chain voluntarily provided guest lists to immigration and customs enforcement agents on a routine basis for more than 2 years. The Attorney General said 7 Washington locations shared personal information for about 80,000 guests from 2015 to 2017. Motel 6 also signed a legally binding commitment to stop handing over guest information without a warrant or other lawful basis at all locations, and to adopt that policy nationwide. There was also a separate national class action settlement. MALDEF reported that a federal judge granted final approval of a $10 million settlement related to Motel 6, providing guest information to federal immigration officials. The travel lesson is not political, it is privacy. A hotel stay creates a file, name, address, vehicle, payment card, ID, travel date, and sometimes family information. A budget room does not make that data less sensitive. For the traveler who wants the cheapest safe place to sleep, Motel 6 carries both a below-average satisfaction score and a documented privacy history that should not be ignored. That privacy point is especially important for older travelers who may assume the front desk record is just paperwork. It is not. A hotel registration record can reveal where someone slept, who they traveled with, what car they drove, and how long they plan to stay. When a hotel brand has had to enter binding commitments about guest information disclosure, that belongs in the booking decision. Avoid number 4 is HomeTowne Studios by Red Roof. Extended stay hotels are different from ordinary overnight hotels. A bad one-night stay is frustrating. A bad extended stay becomes a daily problem. In the 2025 J.D. Power Economy extended stay scores reported by Money Talks News, HomeTowne Studios by Red Roof scored 492 out of 1,000. The economy extended stay average was 539. That places the brand 47 points below the average for its segment. There is also a data security record involving Red Roof. In a class action settlement concerning a September 2023 data incident, Red Roof Inns agreed to pay $550,000 into a settlement fund. The lawsuit alleged the incident potentially exposed personal identifying information and that Red Roof failed to maintain reasonable security measures. Red Roof denied liability and wrongdoing, and the settlement site says final approval was granted on August 5, 2025. The point is not to say every HomeTowne Studios property is unsafe or every Red Roof guest had data exposed. The point is that extended stay guests have more exposure than one-night guests. They stay longer, they may use the property as a temporary home, they may receive mail, cook in the room, keep more belongings inside, and provide more data to the hotel system. A low satisfaction score in that category matters more because the guest is not just buying a bed. The guest is buying a living arrangement. Extended stay also changes the refund math. If a one-night stay disappoints, the guest may lose one night of sleep. If a weekly or monthly stay disappoints, the guest may have to move luggage, medicine, groceries, documents, and work equipment. That is why economy extended stay scores should be treated with more caution than ordinary hotel scores. Avoid number 3 is Rodeway Inn. Rodeway is part of the Choice Hotels ecosystem, and its warning signal starts with guest satisfaction. In the J.D. Power Economy scores reported by Money Talks News, Rodeway Inn scored 468 out of 1,000. That is 76 points below the economy segment average of 544. Among the economy brands listed in the summary, only OYO scored lower. There is also a corporate context around pricing. Colorado's assurance of discontinuance involving Choice Hotels alleged that Choice misrepresented room rates, mandatory fees, or total price by promoting room prices that did not include all mandatory fees charged for stays at affiliated hotels. Choice denied violating the statute and settled. The important caveat is that this was a Choice Hotels system-level fee disclosure matter. It should not be treated as a Rodeway-specific satisfaction explanation, but for the traveler, the lesson still connects. Rodeway often competes on price. If the value proposition is, this is the cheapest room near the highway, then the total price and the expected quality both matter. A low nightly rate can become a poor deal if the experience sits far below the segment average or if mandatory charges make comparison shopping harder. Rodeway is also a reminder that parent company scale does not guarantee consistency at the property level. Economy flags often operate through franchise systems, and the traveler may not know how recently a specific property was inspected, renovated, staffed, or reflagged. A national logo can make a local property feel more predictable than it really is. You have seen 3 warnings: a familiar budget name below average, a budget chain with privacy history, and a low-scoring Choice Economy brand. The last 3 are where the score gap becomes hard to dismiss. Subscribe to the Hidden Boarding Pass and hit the notification bell. Let us finish the list. Avoid number 2 is Suburban Studios. This is another economy extended stay brand, and the score is the story. Money Talks News reported Suburban Studios at 467 out of 1,000 in the economy extended stay segment. The economy extended stay average was 539. That is a 72-point gap below the average. Choice Hotels has described Suburban Studios as a rebrand of Suburban Extended Stay, built around economy extended stay. Conversions with in-room kitchens, laundry access, and bi-weekly housekeeping. Those features can be valuable. A kitchen can save money. Laundry access matters for long stays. Bi-weekly housekeeping can be acceptable when the rate is low and expectations are clear. But extended stay is also a category where service gaps compound. If the room is disappointing, the guest does not just wake up and leave the next morning. The guest may be locked into a weekly rate, a work assignment, a relocation, or a family situation. That is why a 467 score matters. It is not a dramatic lawsuit. It is not a viral scandal. It is an independent satisfaction warning in a category where the guest's exposure is longer. For a traveler choosing an extended stay property, a low score should trigger more research before payment. Recent photos, cancellation terms, exact housekeeping schedule, deposit rules, and whether the property is franchise-run or recently converted. There is another practical issue with extended stay economy brands. The guest often books because life is already complicated. A job assignment, insurance displacement, family caregiving trip, or relocation can make the cheapest weekly rate look necessary. But when the stay is tied to real life rather than vacation, reliability matters more, not less. Avoid number 1 is OYO. OYO is the clearest score-based warning in this episode. OYO scored 386 out of 1,000 in the 2025 J.D. Power Economy Hotel data, reported by Money Talks News. The economy hotel average was 544. OYO was 158 points below the segment average. It was also 82 points below Rodeway Inn, the next lowest economy brand in that summary. There is also franchise-side enforcement context. California DFPI records show a 2020 enforcement action and settlement involving OYO Hotels LLC, OYO Hotels Inc., and OYO Rooms and Technology LLC. The settlement included a desist and refrain order and a $75,000 penalty related to franchise law issues. That is not the same thing as guest satisfaction. It does not prove a traveler will have a bad stay, but it adds context to a brand that was already at the bottom of the satisfaction table. With OYO, the number is enough. When a brand lands 158 points below the economy average, the cheap rate cannot be evaluated by price alone. A traveler has to ask what local property they are actually getting, how recently the reviews were posted, whether the photos are current, what fees or deposits apply, and whether there is a reliable way to resolve problems if the room is not as advertised. The safest way to think about OYO is not as one uniform hotel experience. It is a flag that can appear over converted properties, local operators, and very different buildings. That makes the individual address more important than the brand promise. Before booking, the traveler should search the exact property name, not just the chain name, and check whether the most recent photos come from guests or from the marketing page. There are 3 practical checks before booking any low-cost hotel brand. First, compare the brand to its segment, not to luxury hotels. A Motel 6 should not be judged against the Ritz-Carlton, but it can be judged against Microtel, which J.D. Power named highest in the economy segment. Second, separate the parent brand from the individual property. Many economy hotels are franchised. One location can be recently renovated while another carries the same flag over a very different experience. That makes recent guest photos and property-specific reviews more important than the brand website. Third, check the total risk, not just the rate. A hotel stay includes the room, deposit, parking, fees, cancellation terms, safety, accessibility, privacy, and the ability to get help when something goes wrong. The cheapest room can become the expensive room if it ruins sleep before a flight, creates a refund fight, or forces a last-minute move. The 386 score for OYO is public. The 467 score for Suburban Studios is public. The 468 score for Rodeway Inn is public. The Motel 6 privacy settlements are public. None of this means every property under these flags should be avoided forever. It means the discount deserves scrutiny. Share this video with someone who books the cheapest hotel near the airport without checking the brand record. If the hidden boarding pass has been valuable to you, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And remember, the truth is not always on the boarding pass.